What is the biggest plot twist in manga or anime, whatever you want to say? For me, I don't know. I'm gonna have to throw it to Naruto. Like, just my personal bias, I guess, but I'm throwing it to Naruto.
Itachi completely fulfilled his duty, except for one single mistake. But you above all else. And yet, he could not tell you the full truth. He fled the village after threatening Danzo. If anything were to happen to you, Itachi would leak all the intelligence he had on the hidden leaf to unallied nations. He begged the Hokage to make sure you would never learn the truth. And from the moment he left the village, he resigned himself to battling you to the death. That is Itachi's truth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but like, you don't really get a better twist than that. I think, like, it was set up so well, right? And what I love about this twist is I feel like with most manga or anime, whatever you want to say, manga, um, you oftentimes get a basically it's something that is set up initially and then later on there's the twist, right? Because you think something is one way and then it turns out to be the other way. Well, what's so interesting about the whole Uchiha reveal, the whole Itachi reveal, is that it's not only is it built up initially, it is talked about so many times, right? So it's like be into your head that Itachi is this monster that killed his whole family and is after power and like all this shit, right? For the longest time. And I love how Kishimoto even brings him back to the Leaf Village. So all the other shinobi like Kakashi, Might Guy, Kurenai, Asuma, even Jiraiya, like they're all like we as people, I guess, naturally have a gravitation towards when older people speak. That's just something like in psychology. For some reason, our brains are more wired to. It's kind of like when people say respect your elders. It's similar to that, where like when older people say things, we tend to listen a bit more. So when you have this older generation of people in their 30s or Jiraiya's in his 50s, like when they're all saying the same thing of like, oh, you like when Asuma's pressing him in the village, like, oh, I'm not gonna trust someone who killed his own family, or he says something about that. Like Itachi says something, and then Asuma gives some remark like, "Oh, that's funny coming from a dude who killed his own family" or something like that. But it's like beaten into our heads multiple times from Sasuke himself to other people in the Leaf Village, and then he comes back to the Leaf Village, and he's just the straight up just mercilessly type dude, whatever, trying to kidnap Naruto. Like this whole time, he is built up to be this villain, and it's upon hundreds and hundreds of chapters. And then what is so cool about this is we get the satisfying final battle that we've always wanted between him and Sasuke. That was the biggest deal. That was the biggest deal is him fighting Sasuke, right? And right after that, I think it was so perfectly placed how it wasn't one of those reveals of, oh, you get to the climax of that arc or whatever or that situation and then it's revealed. No, it finishes, right? Like Itachi's dead, it's done, it's over. Sasuke finally achieved his number one goal, though. His whole purpose of living, he achieved it. And then that's when we find out that Itachi was doing it for like the actual village. Like it was a whole thing about it. And we get, the huge reveal that completely breaks not only Sasuke's mind, but all of the readers. And it was so powerful and like it's so crazy. Like it's I'm trying to take myself back to that moment, right? Like when I first seen that, which it's hard for me to remember. For context, I'm 30, and when did that happen? Like I've been reading Naruto since I was like 12. So like when did that happen? When I was probably like 15, 16 maybe, I want to say, or maybe that pain might have been out by now cuz I think that was Storm 2, probably cuz Naruto Storm 2 was the pain era. So that actually might have been a little bit before. I would have might have been like 14 or something when that shit came out. It's crazy, dude, to think about how long it's been. And even till this day, don't get me wrong, there has been some huge twists and turns here and there that were bigger. But honestly, as of right now, even how good a lot of other manga have like really big twists and stuff, I don't think that any manga has hit it, has nailed it, not only as well, but as impactful as that one was, because it completely changes Sasuke as a character, and he's one of the most main characters in the story, and you see him have this massive shift. And I'm actually planning on making a video probably next week or something about how Sasuke is like one of the best written characters in the story, which is crazy because when I was growing up, I don't know how it is now because I have the past handful of years I've really distanced myself away from like the anime and manga community, so I have no idea how people feel about Sasuke now. But I remember when I was growing up, like people hated Sasuke, bro. Like people were like, "Oh, he's just an emotional brat, like this, that, and the third." And I've always been like, "How? He is so his quality of writing is so good. Stuff you do not get out of your average shonen manga. Like his character writing genuinely is some peak shit. Like I know people always use the word term peak, but like it actually is some really good peak stuff, dude. And for his character to be one of the pinnacle moments of his character change, and to see how he feels about that, his mind is broken over it, and where he goes from there is absolutely crazy. And just to see how much Itachi has suffered and has had that burden for all of these years, and has kept that secret, right? And has lived in the Akatsuki, and has literally gave himself an entire life that he never wanted, right? Like he was on the Ambu, he wanted to be a respectable shinobi. Like he never wanted any of this shit, but it was an Ambu order directly from the village and the village leaders themselves, and he did it. He actually went through with it, which is crazy, um, and is honestly one of the best twists I've ever seen in my life. Period. Let alone manga. And I think at this point, realistically, the only thing that can top this is probably One Piece. Like that's the only thing. Just because One Piece has so much material to work with right now, and it's well over 1,000 chapters long, that it definitely has stuff in it that can compete with this. Other than that, I don't know. Because, like, again, like I said earlier, there are plot twists in manga that are fantastic, right? Like one of them is in like Chainsaw Man, which I'm not gonna spoil Chainsaw Man, but Chainsaw Man has some shit that is so well written. But the difference is one, Chainsaw Man didn't let that stuff marinate as long as Naruto, and also it's it's done extremely well, but I just feel like with Naruto, they do it in a way where it beats it into your head multiple times to where you don't forget about it, right? Like a lot of manga, like I don't know, I have to go back and read Chainsaw Man, but other manga besides Chainsaw Man, other manga I've read who that do have big twists, it is really really cool, but they don't like really beat it into your head sort of deal. You know what I mean? Like what I mean by that is like mentioning it multiple times, right? And having that as Sasuke's main goal, of course, because how many times do you hear Naruto scream, I'm going to become the Hokage? Well, it's the same thing with Sasuke. Like, his whole thing is, I have to defeat my brother. Like, that's his whole thing. And for that to be built up for so many times, for us to hear about it, and then also get a conclusion, and then the twist happens after that conclusion. I think that is what makes it so much more powerful, because most series usually just set it up initially, and then they might mention it like one more time after that, but pretty much it's usually mentioned once, maybe twice, and then later down the road the big reveal happens, and it's usually still really good. But again, this video is all about the best twist in manga, and for me, like, I have to give it to Itachi. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta give it to Naruto. I gotta give it to that manga, because, or anime, whichever one you watch. But it's just like, for me, it's just like, it till this day, it has not been topped. Okay, it's been close. There's been some good ones, you know, but man, just, dude, Itachi is just, and what makes it so much more dope. I don't know if you can see on the this side of the screen I'm pointing to. I don't know which side I'm looking at, the left or right. I even have a little wall scroll or whatever of Itachi. I don't know if you can tell, it's all sideways, but it's Itachi with all the crows like leaving his body and stuff, and just, him being a crow, him being represented by crows, is just so raw. It is so fucking raw, dude. Like, that is just so fucking cool. It's so cool. I love it. I love everything about, like, Itachi, just the vibe of his character. He is like a crow. He is just like that bird, that like outcasted bird, cuz like a crow is basically an outcasted bird, right? Like, they're not like most birds. And it's just interesting to see how he kind of represents that. Even though I think his name means weasel, if I'm not mistaken, like the name Itachi actually stands for weasel. But I think that that's just a name. Sometimes names are just names. But yeah, dude. Um, Let me know in the comments, I guess, what you think is a bigger twist. And don't spoil. Don't spoil. Don't be like, oh, remember when so and so did this and this. The only reason I'm talking about Itachi being a big twist is because that's the title and video. Okay, you saw the thumbnail, you clicked on this shit, you knew what you were getting into. But if you're bringing up other manga, people might not be caught up on it, so don't spoil people in the comment section. That's why I was very vague with Chainsaw Man. Okay, there's other manga out there too. I don't want to like give too much away, but there are other manga out there that have great plot twists like Chainsaw Man. But again, leave your yeah, basically, if you think somebody had another manga had an even bigger twist, leave it in the comments. But again, don't like go into detail, don't spoil other people. And yeah, dude, Sasuke and Itachi, dude, one of the dopest stories written.
Bye, have a beautiful time.